Well, welcome, everybody, to another edition of Lewis at Large. Yours truly, Warner Lewis, from the flight deck. And, of course, that means some smart talk radio is in your future. And today's segment, certainly no exception. We are so excited to have Charlotte Stewart with us, an extraordinary talent with a brand new workout called Little House in the Hollywood Hills, A Bad Girl's Guide to Becoming Miss Beadle, Mary X, and Me, released just recently. Who is Charlotte Stewart? Well, she's many things. An actress, for sure. She was interesting. She began her showbiz career as Disneyland's first walk-around character of Alice in Wonderland, and went on to have an extraordinary show business career, which we will talk about in depth. Lots of adventures, some good, some not so good, but she is very candid, witty, and smart, and we are pleased to have her here. Charlotte, how are you, my friend?
Warner, I am just fine. Just fine. It's a beautiful day. I'm sitting on a park bench in Cambria, California.
Well, let's do this. Let's share with our Lewis at Large listeners a little bit. First of all, let's talk how you got into, first of all, becoming the first walk-around Alice in Wonderland character at Disneyland. Let's start there. That's interesting.
Well, I'll tell you, I was 17 years old. I had left my hometown of Yuba City, California. I wasn't a very good student ever, and all my friends were going away to college, and my grades wouldn't allow it. So I thought, what do I do? What do I do? So I enrolled at the Pasadena Playhouse College of Theater Arts in Pasadena. It was actually the State Theater of California, and that my parents agreed to. I think they were just hoping for anything at that point. But I did. I fell in love with acting. But while I was there as a student, around just before the holidays, a man came there and said he was looking for students to play the walk-around characters at Disneyland. Now, Disneyland had only been opened for 2 years. I had never been. Just the thought of it was so exciting. So I followed him around all day long. And he kept saying, no, you don't have long hair. And Alice in Wonderland's supposed to have this long hair. And I said, I'll do anything. I'll buy hair. I badgered him so much. He said, okay. So I got the part of Alice. I ran down the street in Pasadena to the Woolworths, and I bought myself a ponytail, the kind you can pin on,
Yeah.
I mean, I was desperate. And I got to play Alice, and I was there all through the Christmas season, and I had a ball. My whole job was to meet and greet people, get my picture taken, and a lot of times I could take a child on a ride for free because, in those days you had to have the E ticket.
Right.
You had to get A, B, C, D, and E being the best, and they were expensive. So there were a lot of, families that could not afford anything but the entrance fee. So I would just pick up these kids and take them with me. I'd go on all the rides, and it was just a great job. And I think I was making $1.75 an hour.
And loving every minute of it, probably.
And was so happy to get it.
Did you come, was there any acting or any kind of show business in your parents or in your family?
No, never. In fact, I did one horrible school play, I think. And it was, it didn't even interest me at all. I was just desperate to leave Yuba City. Not that there's anything wrong with Yuba City, but I wanted to do something, and I thought maybe I'd be a writer. I don't know. I was, like I say, desperate. And my husband just came over to ask me if I wanted coffee. I was going to go get coffee.
That's all right. Anyway, this is live radio. It's fine.
Hello?
Well, yes, whatever you need to do, we're good.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just, anyway, the Playhouse, I heard about an audition for a really low-budget movie, and I got the part, and that was my first real acting role. It was called Damaged Goods.
Wow.
And my dad, it played Yuba City at the local drive-in. My dad went every single night in his pickup truck. Is that sweet?
Yes, that is sweet. By the way, was it the kind of movie that it was okay for Dad to see?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was a teenage, bad love story. I think it it's centered around venereal disease.
Okay, wonderful.
The guy that made the movie got the funding from the state of California Educational Department or something like that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, okay. So now you are really bitten by the showbiz bug, and so tell us about. Again, you've done film work, but you're obviously very, very well known for your work as Miss Beadle on Little House on the Prairie. Is Little House on the Prairie, is that next? Is that right in line there? Or tell us about that timeline.
Oh gosh, no. I didn't do. We're talking about 58, 59, and then I didn't get Little House on the Prairie till 73. So there was a lot of episodic television then. Bachelor Father, My Three Sons, Margie, GE Theater, Bonanza, Gunsmoke, Hawaii Five-0. I did all those shows, one after another. Little House came much later in the career.
Okay, I'm curious, and because we will get to Little House, we also want to get to that really pretty
the bad girl part.
Well, a little bit, yeah, but it's your life. It's part of your life. I'm curious, just from an acting point of view. Did you enjoy the regular work, the regular character that you played on Little House for so long, or did you like, so to speak, jumping around being a character actress on a variety of different shows?
I was an actor who would act in anything. You know what I mean? The lucky part was, and I got to tell you, my career was just one lucky thing after another. I fell into the most incredible circumstances. None of my own doing, right place, right time, or whatever that is. And any actor, their ambition is to get on a series, at least, in the early days, because for a steady job, you just live from one job to another. And I have to tell you that most of the time that I was working, I kept a steady job at a production company. I rented office space to directors, producers, writers who were, getting productions up and running. And then I would save up my vacation days when I got a job and go off and do an acting role for 2 or 3 days and come back. And, I did that my whole life. So a lot of the actors will go into real estate. They work in a restaurant.
Right.
They do anything that allows them to drop it at a second to go do an acting job.
Right.
So, of course, when you get a series, it's just, oh, God, it's, heaven. Just to know you're working tomorrow.
You're listening to Lewis at Large. Yours truly, Warner Lewis, again from the flight deck. And, of course, we're talking with Charlotte Stewart, a talented actress, but a brand new work, a memoir by her called Little House in the Hollywood Hills, A Bad Girl's Guide to Becoming Miss Beadle, Mary X, and Me. Okay, let's talk about Bad Girl's Guide. 1960s, wonderful, wonderful classic rock music being released. Lots of marijuana out there, and God knows all other kinds of chemicals out there
all of
for
that,
you.
The Beatles had hit. We had L.A. riots in Los Angeles. We had, I had a clothing store called the Liquid Butterfly. So, if you remember, there was an album that Neil Young put out where it was the picture was just the back of his jeans with patches all over it. That's what I did at the Liquid Butterfly. Is I patched jeans. I made peasant dresses. I have a picture in my book with Joni Mitchell at my house up in Topanga. We were hippies in those days.
How many?
Of course, I was a working hippie. Oh, a dog just came up and sniffed me. Hi, puppy.
Did you? How many? Can you count how many pairs of regular blue jeans you slit down the bottom and wove in or sewed in some fabric to make bell bottoms out of them? Did you do any of that?
Oh my God, you remember that?
Oh, you bet I do.
Yes, all down the bottom of the jeans on the outside. You cut it and you made a big triangle, and then you put in whatever fabric. I did tons of those. And I made cowboy shirts. You don't love my cowboy shirts. I made it wasn't patchwork, but every piece of the pattern was a different material. Was a different print. And my cowboy shirts were very well known. Well, and I sew to this day. I sew every single day. I made my guest room into a studio. I sew from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon with a brief break for lunch. And I make tote bags with pictures from Little House on the Prairie.
Okay.
And I sell them to raise money for a cancer program in Napa, where I live. I live up in Northern California, Napa.
Wow.
And I'm a cancer survivor, so I support a lot of, programs that are so beneficial to, it's not just to cure cancer, it's to get your life back once you've had cancer. And so that's one of the programs I support. It's called the Wellness Center. And it's fabulous. Anyway, I'm off track here.
No, you're fine. But if we explore the 1960s, let's just go to 1968. You were one, if you were a baby boomer in that particular time, you were probably one of two things. You were completely hipped out. A lot of concerts, a lot of free things in the park, lots of drugs, lots of occasionally the penicillin shots from time to time, you name it. Or you were completely the opposite, and you were Niedermeyer. You were in a fraternity, or you were Greek, and you had parents that said, "You're not going to go to that school. They do drugs at that school."
Actually, I wasn't any of those.
Right.
I was right straight down the middle. I was a farm girl come to L.A. I was a wannabe hippie. I don't think I ever was a hippie. I never lived in a tent and, washed my clothes in a creek. I had an apartment. I worked. I had a car. But all my friends dressed like my friends. I smoked dope like my friends. I drank a little too much, but that became a problem later in my story. My dad was an alcoholic. He actually died of alcoholism, and my whole family was, afflicted with that. But we're all sober now, so that was a good part of the story.
So like many, and by the way, I'm not lessening its importance, but you were involved with drugs, abuse of alcohol. You did a little crack. That came
a little bit later.
Yeah, we had some money.
When it was a little more popular.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I ever, fell down on the floor and stayed there for 6 days on crack. Sometimes it would get passed at a party, and it was quite a high. I'd never experienced anything like that. The whole world drops off, and you get this euphoric feeling. But I couldn't afford cocaine. I did it mainly as a social, drug with friends.
And you
had a lot of men think that that's how you get women is you offer them coke.
Right. Right. That's not right. But and speaking of men, you had multiple relations, which frankly was not completely unique. But I'm just curious through all of this
pretty
period.
Hot men.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah. We can name everybody from John Voight to Tim Considine to my gosh.
Well, I married Tim.
Yeah. Yep. That is right. Oh, that is right. And by the way, for a reminder for our Lewis at Large listeners, you should know this, but he played Mike on My Three Sons, the one that went off to the Navy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Mike
right.
on My Three Sons.
Yep.
And he was Spin and Marty on the Disney Channel, which we didn't have Disney channels then, on the Disney Club.
Yes.
Mickey Mouse Club, which I had a huge crush on him when I was in high school. Oh, my God. And then I couldn't believe it. I was going to work with him. And then he asked me out. And then, by God, we got married,
Wow.
There's all those teen magazine things, all those shots of us frolicking in the surf or whatever it was.
Okay, so I'm curious, during this period, whether it's the drug abuse, alcohol, et cetera, are you still effectively and functionally working?
Oh, God, yes. I never lost the ability to work. When it really started slowing down, and that was after Little House on the Prairie, so we're getting close to the early 80s. I worked on the show until 77, and then I got married again. I married a magician who magically made my money disappear.
Okay.
Not really. Just we got very careless behind a lot of, partying. I was told, George, we should have had a party, not a wedding. Would have been much more appropriate. But needless to say, so I was also getting older. When I was doing Little House, I was 34 and somewhere around in there, 73, 34. And you don't get as many parts the older you get. the closer to 40 that you get, the parts kind of drop off. But I had money at the time, and so I just continued to kind of party. But the bad thing that happened, what really sunk me, besides my drinking, and I was drinking a lot then, because I had nothing to get up for in the morning. I was just partying and sleeping in and stuff.
Well, so as you look back, let me ask you a question real quickly. As you look back on it, you said that alcoholism was probably in the DNA to begin with, but
right.
Do you think, super hypothetically here, if you had the normal sort of 8 to 5 job, would the drinking have been the same, or was it filling time and entertainment and sort of nothing else to do, so to speak?
I think the second part there is about right. I had a lot of time on my hands. I had money to live. I wasn't desperate for a job. And I was married to another alcoholic at that point. And in fact, when Tim and I were married, my first husband, Tim Considine, at one point he suggested that we stop drinking and doing marijuana. And he did, and I didn't. I just hid it. I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard. Why would we want to do that? So that's literally my behavior behind that really broke up our marriage. And, I continued that behavior for a long time, thinking, well, it's nobody's business. And this is kind of why I put some of this in my book, quite honestly. If somebody reads this and they identify with it, or they see their son or daughter, brother, sister, mother, father in this behavior, maybe they'll realize that there is a place to go for help. Because I finally did, after, telling my friends to mind their own business, I finally hit bottom. And along with that was I had a business manager who was addicted to cocaine that I didn't know and was using my money to support his habit.
Oh, boy.
And I ended up losing everything. Everything.
Wow.
All my money, my house.
And Charlotte, when was that? When did that happen?
That was in the early 80s.
Okay.
81, 82. I finally went into treatment in 1984. And that saved my life, quite literally.
You tell us also, and again, I'm just mindful of time here. We could talk for a long time here, but would you share with our listeners too? I want to cover your battle with breast cancer, and tell us about that situation and the resolution of that. Yeah,
well, that was in the early, 90s, 91, and I was doing Twin Peaks at the time, the original series Twin Peaks with David Lynch, who I had done Eraserhead with many years earlier, and I was diagnosed with it. I was living alone at the time. I was sober, drove myself to the hospital, had surgery, drove myself home, and, there I was. I was so self-sufficient. And then they had to do a second surgery, and that really knocked me on my butt. And then I was smart enough to ask for help then. I had friends come over and bring food and take care of me, and then that's when I got together with my third husband, David Banks, who I had known since the Pasadena Playhouse, and he took care of me.
Let me ask you something. At that time, were you surrounded with people that were supportive, that were not necessarily substance abusers, and where was your career at that particular moment?
My career then was doing okay because I was doing Twin Peaks, and it became a big hit overnight. Unfortunately, it didn't last but a year and a half. But my career was just fine then. I had my steady job at the same time that I was working in the production facility, leasing office space. I was doing just fine.
What is as you look,
and no drugs and no drinking at that point?
Yeah. How did you, and not so much evolve as an actress, but more as a person? From the beginning of that very, very high-profile regular role on Little House to the time that series ended, what changed in your life? You went in one way and came out another. What might have been the metamorphosis for you there?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I just feel I was so fortunate to have good friends and a fabulous family who supported me the whole way. I mean, financially, I've always supported myself. even in the hard times. I think I married a wonderful man. I had great friends. Life was just wonderful, and then he became ill, and then I ended up taking care of him. So there's something, when you kind of when you finally live your life responsibly, good things happen. People come to you and offer you wonderful things. And I had a friend, her name was Mickey Fox. She was a Fellini actress in Italy, and she was so funny, and she said, Charlotte, you could fall down a manhole and come up with a set of dishes. And I think that's about my life,
Yeah.
I have just, like I said it before, I've fallen into some incredible circumstances. And you mentioned before the men in my life, before I married David. I was in a business, entertainment industry, surrounded with incredibly talented and handsome men.
Yeah.
And I wasn't so bad looking myself,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm funny, and I'm smart, and I've always taken care of myself. I never, ever, ever looked for a man to take care of me, ever. I never gave anybody benefits for parts, if you know what I mean. I never had to do that. I was always on my own merit. So, I still had my pride, and I think that's kind of what made the difference. And then I in the last, David died in 2012. We were married 20 years, the last 10 of which he was very ill, and that's why we moved to Napa. He had emphysema, and I wanted to be near my family in case I needed their help, and I did. And but there's something that happens when you become a caregiver. God, I so respect caregivers.
Charlotte, this might sound like a little bit of a funny question, but despite the alcoholism, despite the breast cancer, despite some of the maybe possibly dysfunctional or negative relationships that you've had, on balance, as you look back on it all, is there anything in particular that you would have changed, looking back on it from today's perspective?
You know what? No, not. I mean, I hopefully didn't hurt that many people. I know I hurt my first husband, Tim Considine. We are friends today. In fact, he took the picture on the back of my book. We are very good friends today. And that was the thing I feared the most, is that my behavior had hurt people. Now, there were some real jerks in my life, and I'm sorry if I hurt them, but good riddance, people that, kind of hung on me a little bit, because when I had money, I was able to buy, I was the one that bought the cocaine for the party or whatever. And some of those friends weren't real friends, and I'm glad to be rid of them. But no, today I can look back and say, whatever I did during those years made me who I am today. And I'm a very happy person today.
Well, that is for sure. That's very, very obvious. The work is called Little House in the Hollywood Hills, A Bad Girl's Guide to Becoming Miss Beadle, Mary X. and Me, Charlotte Stewart, tremendous talent, and obviously a life filled with extraordinary opportunities, extraordinary choices. And
have we got one more minute?
Yes, we do, because I wanted to ask you a couple more questions, and also where people can.
I want to tell you that, like I say, I'm sitting here in Cambria, California, which is where the Hearst Castle is. William Randolph Hearst built the castle. The last time I was here with Jim Morrison.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
we went on a road trip together. I can't remember when he died. It was about 6 months before he died, but he was in trouble. He was really living a full down-and-out alcoholic life.
Yeah.
He was my drinking buddy in those years. He was my drinking buddy. And he had been arrested in Florida for indecent exposure on stage, and he was being hounded by paparazzi, and he's facing a trial and possibly prison. He didn't know what was going on. And he called me up and he said, I got to get out of town. You want to go? I said, sure. So he came and picked me up, and we drove up the coast of California to Cambria. It took us 3 days, and because we stopped at every bar and pool hall along the way, and took the bus up to San Simeon, the Hearst Castle. In fact, there's a picture of him in my book eating a hot dog at San Simeon.
Yep.
And that was the last time I was here in Cambria.
When you guys would stop along the way, little roadside bar somewhere, whatever, you walk in, did people go, holy crap, look at Charlotte Stewart and Jim Morrison?
They didn't know him at all.
Okay.
Not a clue. By that time, he had a full beard.
Yeah.
He had put on a little weight.
Yeah.
And in fact, we stopped here to see friends. I have friends who live here in Cambria. And we stopped to see friends, and I said, we pulled in, and my friend Peter Fells came out. He's a metal sculptor, pretty well known around here. And I said, hi, Peter, it's my friend Jim. Jim, this is Peter. And they met and went off talking about sculpture and ironworks and stuff. And I went in to see Peter's rock, but they never had a clue. And in fact, I'm going to see Peter tomorrow. He's coming to this rock and mineral show. And I'm going to say, remember when I was here with my friend? Did you know who that was?
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, listen, before we close out here, how can people get a copy of the book and find out a little bit more about you?
Okay, well, it's available on Amazon, I understand, right now. And if they want to get a signed copy, they have to contact me, and I'm going to give you a P.O. box, okay? Will that work?
Sure.
A P.O. box. It's P.O. Box 3125, Napa, N-A-P-A, California, 94558. They can write to me, and I can order it through PayPal, or they can go directly to Amazon and buy a book there. But then it means they have to ship me the book to sign it and all that. But it's available on Amazon. I think it's on what's the other one that you read on your computer? I can't remember.
Oh, Kindle?
Kindle. It's on Kindle, too.
All right.
So, and then I'm going to do the audiobook. Just got a contract to do the audiobooks. I'm going to do that myself.
That's a good project. Listen.
I know. They said it's going to take probably 5 days.
Well,
it's 309 pages.
Before we get out of here, we told you, I know you've done dozens and dozens, and you'll do dozens more interviews, but no one will ask you this one. When's the last time you washed your own car by hand?
2 days ago.
Wow. Wow. Good for you.
2 days ago. Yeah, you don't turn the hose on it. You fill a bucket, because we're in a drought over here in California. You fill a bucket, and then you get a big rag, the soapy rag, and then you go over the car, and then maybe at the last minute you give it a squirt. But no, we're very conscious of saving water here. So yeah, day before yesterday.
There you go, everybody. Charlotte Stewart washed her own car 2 days ago. Love it. Hey, listen, thank you so much. It's been a joy talking to you. Would love to have you on again. Best of luck with the book. And
well, Warner, you have my phone number. Call me anytime.
I will. You trust me. I will do that. Thanks so much. All right. Take care.
Thank you so much. And thanks to your listeners.
You bet. We'll be back with more right after this on Lewis at Large. You love your dog and you love your yard, but sometimes what your dog leaves behind can make you not love your yard so much. Well, when that happens, it's Call of Duty Pet Waste Removal Service to the rescue. Large or small dogs, big yard or small, call Call of Duty. They clean up the mess your dog leaves behind. So if you're tired of cleaning pet waste from your yard, call Call of Duty, 764-7224. That's 764-7224. Prompt, effective, courteous services on the way. Your yard is left clean and waste-free. So don't waste any more time on waste. Call Call of Duty in Lawrence, 764-7224. That's 764-7224. Or visit their website, callofduty2010.web.com.